What's going on, guys? Goofy Rexy here, and hope everybody is doing well. And in today's video, guys, we're going to be talking about what I think are the most valuable teams in Marvel Strike Force. So encompassing everything, right? From your arena shard to raids to war. We're going to talk about all that, guys, in this video. And we're going to start right now. All right, y'all, welcome back. And the first team that is on my list that I wanted to talk about here are the Wave 1 Avengers. So for me, I think this is more of a early player team, very early player friendly, but we're going to talk about some of their late game viability as well. So recommended beginner team is the Wave 1 Avengers team. You can use them for your early heroes, your Nexus campaign, also for your arena shard as well. Now, they're not going to be a dominant team in arena, but they definitely can, get some things going for you there. You're going to get Captain America right out of the gate from the calendar, Thor as well from the calendar, Hulk, through achievements. So a very early player and free to play friendly team, I think, in my opinion. You can also use them in some of those raids. So even your Ultimate 6 raids, you can use them as well there. As long as you have the right ISOs, I do think that you're probably going to want to throw, maybe the healer ISO on Thor, healer on Cap, healer on Hulk, and then, use Black Widow on Hawkeye, Striker, Skirmisher, Striker on Black Widow, and then your Skirmisher tag, on Hawkeye to be able to get some of that raid content done. But I do find that they're a very valuable team for earlier players, but let's talk about their late game viability. So later game, you can use them for the Doom campaigns, so you can, I think it's the Negasonic node, the last 3 nodes in chapter 1 of Doom campaigns, 1.7, 1.8, and 1.9. You can use a Wave 1 Avengers team. So if you're early game and you've already gotten an investment into this team, know that once you get to that Doom campaign, that you will also have some viability and usage from them as well. And then also Dark Dimension. A lot of players have used, Black Widow, has also used Captain America, in Dark Dimension 4. Now, Captain America is still a questionable choice for me just because he is BioGear. And there's another team on this list that we're going to be talking about that you're probably going to want to put your orange gear into in terms of bio characters. But definitely from my understanding is that Cap and Black Widow were good, in Dark Dimension 4. Black Widow right now is being used, and Hawkeye as well, are being used for the Doom raids, as well. So not just a good team, earlier on in the game, you can use them for the ISO campaign because they're a global team. Not Thor. Thor is a mystic cosmic character, but, at least the other characters that are here, Wave 1 Avengers, primarily, your investment is going to be going into Black Widow, Cap, Thor, Hulk, and Hawkeye as a beginner player. Iron Man goes in a power armor team later, so you don't want to use him there. And if you, for some instances, you will need to use Thor on the Asgardian team, to be able to unlock Black Bolt. So yeah, but yes, like I said, digress. The point is that the Wave 1 Avengers team, a very versatile team, very good team for early players, and definitely still have a lot of usage, for later game players as well. And the next team on this list for me are going to be the Symbiotes. And if you know me already, if you've been watching my streams, you know that I love the Symbiotes. They're my favorite team in the game. Symbiote Spider-Man in the game is my favorite character in Marvel Strike Force, so I absolutely love this team. But they're also very, very, very good in this game. They absolutely dominate in raids, and they are phenomenal in Dark Dimension. As a matter of fact, if you are trying to do Dark Dimension 3, Dark Dimension 4, those city nodes, if you're trying to do that without the Symbiotes, you're trying to do this game on hard mode. It's what we're saying. You're trying to do this game on hard mode. You absolutely want to use the Symbiotes. I think that individually as characters, there's no character on the Symbiote team that does not provide value to their team. Venom, he's flipping positive effects. He's spreading negative effects. He's doing ability blocks. Everybody applies bleed, scream, massive damage dealer. When you're killing the enemy team, she's providing that speed up, so that your team can kind of keep going. She can attack into stealth, with both her basic, and her special ability. She's applying offense down. She's also giving bleed. She's stripping buffs as well. Carnage, I love his special ability. If you can get those debuffs to stack, on characters, watching him do massive damage, with his special ability is a lot of fun. Anti-Venom or Anti-Venom, whichever one you want to call him. He was the cleanser that the team needed. He provides some additional heals, and Symbiote Spider-Man really kind of the top dog here, on this team. love this team. I love what they're able to do. Now in war, they have a few counters that they specialize in. A couple of teams that they beat very well. One obviously being the past Asgardian team, but you can also use them in a punch down against Sinister Six teams as well. And there's a few other teams that they can actually beat in war too. So I find that this team is a team that you're not going to regret any sort of investment into. I'm actually getting ready right now to bring 4 of my symbiotes into my first run of Dark Dimension 4. And I heard that, they do very well in those nodes, except for, node 12, which can be a little challenging, I think, for any team. But yes, I love this team. I love what they're able to do. And I think that they're definitely a team that if you get a hand on them, that you're definitely going to want to invest into. And the next team on my list here is really kind of becoming my second favorite team in the game, and it's the Astonishing XMen team. Number one, I love my guy Bishop, man. Bishop he looks cool. He looks like, what I was supposed to look like if I was muscular. Look at this man. Look at this man. Look jacked. Bishop just jacked out here. You know what I'm saying? Looks good. But I love this team. They're dominant in raids as well. They're very good in a lot of areas in this game, man. Arena, you can use individual. You can use Bishop, Jubilee, Beast, if you have them built up enough. They're actually pretty good in arena. They're phenomenal in raids and require very little investment in order for them to be good, right? Really the 3 characters that matter the most are Jubilee, Bishop, and Beast. I just love what they're able to do. Kitty Pryde can provide some value. She gives evade. She can give some kills. She can she goes into stealth herself. I mean, there's a lot of things that she can provide, but she's not necessarily the dominant character on this team. And Iceman, can absolutely be helpful with the slows. But this team really lives and dies, on Jubilee. So obviously, if you're not able to get Jubilee, you probably shouldn't invest into this team at all. But like I said, I like the fact that they are a team where you can get them to 300K, right? And they'll be dominant in U7.5. They're going to be able to complete most nodes. Some nodes they may have some challenges with, like the War Machine node, but they're still going to do very well and complete a lot of those earlier nodes in U7 difficulty 5, right? Bishop does a lot of damage. Beast, he's a support character. He provides some heals, and he helps with the sustain of the team, so I really do like them. In war, they can counter a lot of teams. They can counter Mercs. They can counter Sinister Six. They can counter Asgardians. They are a multifaceted team that you can use, to beat a lot of those top echelon war defense teams in war. So for that reason, they definitely come in on this list. Jubilee is Dark Dimension 4 viable for your legendary nodes. So yeah, I mean, once again, I don't think that there's any investment that you're going to regret putting into this team. I think Iceman and Kitty Pryde will always have the lesser of the investments. And with Jubilee definitely getting the first high investment, Bishop, and then Beast in that order. But yes, a very good team that you're definitely going to want to invest into. Little investment needed for them to be good. So yeah, definitely add them to this list. All right, and the next team on this list for me is the XForce team. And I'll be very honest, I was very late with investing into XForce, and I'm kind of kicking myself a little bit, for doing that, because they are very, very solid in war. Now, primarily they are a war offensive team. Yes, you can find individual usage with some of these other characters like Negasonic. You can use her and actually use her to 3-star the last tier of the Blaster Challenge. So definitely she does have usage there. X23 is phenomenal RTA. If you're a PvPer, she's also very good in PvP. And for some of those later game nodes, I think like your Nexus campaign, or is it Doom campaign, there is a hero mutant section where you can actually use X23, and she's pretty good there. I actually used her early when I did not have any like long shot Shatterstar to 3-star some of those nodes. So very good character in my opinion, does a good amount of damage. But individual, the team itself, right? They're a very good team. They counter so many teams in war, and that's pretty much basically the reason why you're going to want to invest into this team. Not to alone mention too that they can also unlock a legendary in Doc Ock, who's probably the best legendary in the game, so therefore they provide value from that perspective as well. But very good solid team. I think the 2 characters that at least at a bare minimum you want to make sure that you build up would be Negasonic, would be X23. They will absolutely carry this team. Domino does actually provide value on this team. The reason why you hear people talk badly about Domino is just because she doesn't survive, and that's why you see a lot of people throw, the Fortifier ISOs on her, right? But in this particular situation, I have Skirmisher on her because I do have high red stars. I have not upgraded her to 7 stars yet, mainly because I just didn't want to have her damage be higher than Deadpool's. But I'm not quite sure that this is really relevant anymore. I'm still using them right now to beat, these Merc teams. I'm still using them to beat, as Guardians if I see them in there. Sinister Six, they can also be a Doc Ock Sinister Six team. And I've also at a earlier stage, not where they are right now, but at an earlier stage, I was able to use them to beat Marauders teams. But the Marauders teams I'm seeing now, they're way too big. So they can't compete at that level. But yeah, Negasonic X-23 are very good. Cable is probably, for me, I think the third most important character, on this team. I think his ability to apply those speed ups. I think him being able to clear negative effects, off enemy characters, I think is very relevant for this team. So for me, if you're looking for your first dominant war team, and if you can get your hands on Negasonic, who is a late game node, I definitely think that this team is one of the most valuable teams in this game, in my opinion. Right, and the next team on my list here is going to be the Brotherhood 2.0 team. And BH 2.0 is, I think, more of a early game viable team for players. So I wanted to make sure that I included some early game viability, right? So not just throw in Symbiotes and Astonishing XMen and XForce, who it's quite challenging for early game players to get to. But Brotherhood, you can get to them pretty early. Magneto is a lot of the characters that you need to unlock him. You're going to get a lot of them for free, or you're going to get them with relative ease. Blob and Juggernaut are in the arena store. Toad is in the Blitz store. You're going to get a free Wolverine by just playing the game, and of course you can then farm some other characters like Mystique and who's in the Villains campaign, to unlock, Magneto. It's nice that this is another team where you can actually use Brotherhood characters to unlock him. That's actually really dope as well. That makes it a lot easier for a lot of players, I think, in this game. But BH 2.0, I think, is they've been good. They've been good since they've been released, and they're still good now, even a year or 2 years later, in my opinion. I think I use them a lot to counter a lot of teams in war for me. They're very dominant in war. I still see a lot of those early shield teams or those Fury shield teams that I use them to counter a lot. I've seen people put Shadowland on defense, which I don't know why anyone would ever do that, but I use them to beat those teams. They can counter, those top offensive teams that people put on defense. By the way, stop doing that. Shadowland, XFactor, stop putting those teams on defense. It doesn't make any sense in humans. Like, those teams typically, BH 2.0, can counter those teams. So I find them to be very usable. They are Mercs. They can also do some punch downs, to Mercs, if you can find them in war. I think Blob is kind of like an underrated character, in my opinion. I think because of his offense up on spawn, Toad giving them taunt right out of the gate, I think that makes him a very valuable character, for war, very valuable character on this team. And Toad and Blob also as well are pretty good in PvP, pretty good in RTA. I think Brotherhood is very good in RTA because they counter a lot of those speed teams because they have speed themselves, so I find them to be very valuable there. And like I said, early game, if you can get, your hands on Magneto, you can use him for your arena shard. Going to be a very valuable character there as well. Going to be a very valuable team, I should say. Their Magneto, Juggernaut, Blob, can probably use interchangeably for your early arena. There's also a few raid nodes where they're relevant too, if, for your earlier game players. So if you need a global team for your alpha raids, they're a global team that you can use for a couple nodes, right? If you need, for your gamma raids, in the middle section, there's literally a Brotherhood requirement. I find that this team is very valuable there as well. So in terms of, a valuable team, I definitely think the BH 2.0 definitely gets added to this list. Another team on this list that definitely has to be mentioned is the XFactor team. And once again, it's another war offense team, but individually there is some usage. Sorry, hitting my mic. Individually, there is some usage with some other characters on this team. So the Dad Bros, we know about them already, right? If you don't know about them, you definitely will. They're phenomenal. They're dominant, their speed, the barrier, like all that, the crits, like it's absolutely crazy what this team can do. I'm using this team right now with Kestrel. I'm cheating a little bit with Kestrel to absolutely dominate and do 300k punch-ups, you know, in war. I'm gonna tell you this right now, that is overkill. That team is they do not need Kestrel whatsoever, but for me, it's just absolutely a lot of fun. But this team is insanely dominant in, you know, in offensive and war offense. But also those two characters, Longshot and Shatterstar, those two characters are also very, very good in some of those Doom raids, right? So, you know, the mutant section in those Doom raids, I'm seeing players use Longshot, Shatterstar with Astonishing XMen. So taking out Kitty Pryde, taking out Iceman, and using those two characters with them, getting that speed up. Once they get going, man, and if actually I've seen people do this too, Mr. Sinister, Longshot, Shatterstar, and in some of those nodes cloning another Longshot. Wow, it's really, really, really good and exciting to watch. It's kind of yeah, I'm just gonna leave it there. But no, it's really good. It's really good, and I like what they're able to do. Dabro's Longshot also for those cosmic nodes in Dark Dimension. It can dominate there as well. I've not seen them in Dark Dimension 3, so I don't know if they're as good in Dark Dimension 3 as they are in Dark Dimension 4, but I know in Dark Dimension 4, they did a lot of work. I saw a team with, I think Philosopher did a video or showed them out a little bit. I think it did it with Mobile. Longshot, Shatterstar, you know, with Minerva and two other characters that are irrelevant in Dark Dimension 4, and they were pretty much basically just doing all the work and lapping them and doing a bunch of damage. So I think personally, man, XFactor is very much a valuable team in this game. They're hard to get though. Shatterstar right now is a part of the RTA, you know, so you can get some shards for him there. Longshot not farmable right now, not farmable other than, well, he is farmable in orbs, you know, but yeah, dominant team, definitely invest into them. One of the most valuable teams in this game as well. All right, and we're kind of winding down the list here. The next team on this list for me is going to be the Black Order. So obviously we're just gonna assume that Thanos is here. So actually, well, he'll technically be over here since he has a higher power on the team, but yeah, we're gonna assume that Thanos is here, but Black Order to me comes in as that next team on this list here. We're doing this in no order whatsoever, by the way. But Black Order, yes, they're falling off in Arena, but they're also still a very dominant team. I think just in a lot of other game modes. They're not great in raids, but you can use them for some of those raid nodes. I find that to be very relevant, right? So they're pretty good. I use them a lot against in the Ultimates. You know, when we get to the boss node, Ultimate 7.5, you know, I use this team as kind of a first team to go in there, take out 5 characters, and then we'll go back in with a secondary team after they've already weakened everybody. That's pretty much basically what I use my Black Order team for. They can still be used in some of those raids, like the Alpha raids. There's a Cosmic Lane there. You can use them there as well. And I think individually you can find some uses for some other characters. Ebony Maw is great. He's a good plug and play character. You can use him in some of those other raid nodes. But really, this team still dominates. They're the best war offense team. They're literally still the best war offense team that is out there. They counter every team in war. So, you know, I know a lot of people are saying, well, should I invest into Black Order? Yes, the answer is yes. It's just how far do you take the investments? I think the 3 individual characters that may want to have the higher investment at this point would be Proxima, you know, would be Ebony Maw, and of course, absolutely would be Thanos. I'm leaving Cole off of that list. I know that Cole is a good character. The bigger your Cole, the easier team, you know, or easier time that your team would be to survive against some of those big teams. But he's BioGear. You know, I think he also, what does he take for a mini unique? Luminium. You may want to prioritize that now to giving that to Jubilee. So maybe for that reason, I would say maybe he's not a priority in terms of investment anymore. Obviously, I got mine on that G14, you know, a couple characters at G15. Ebony Maw is very close to going to G15 as well. You know, and that's another thing. Ebony Maw, Proxima, and Thanos are also Dark Dimension viable characters as well. You know, for those cosmic nodes, you know, you can use, you know, Thanos, Proxima, and Ebony Maw in Dark Dimension 3. For Dark Dimension 4, I'm using Proxima and Thanos right now. And they're tough nodes, but they've been providing a lot of value. Proxima Stun is insane. Her offense down, she just gives you a lot of control, you know, in a lot of these matchups that I'm using her in right now. So Black Order for me, definitely still a dominant team. Yes, they've fallen out of Arena, but it's still one of the most valuable teams in this game because of what else they can do in other areas of this game, in my opinion. Right, and the last team on this list for me, but I do want to talk about some honorable mentions, right? Marauders can be mentioned here. I'm not going to individually talk about them. I think the reason why I'm not mentioning them as a team is because really it's about Emma and Sinister. They're great. You get them, you build them up. Sinister is insane. Shadowland was also another team I thought about mentioning on this list as well. But, you know, I just, listen, for the sake of not having this list be too long, I left them off, but do know that Shadowland, you know, more late game players, more late game, but Shadowland, a very valuable team in offensive war as well. So you're definitely going to want to, you know, invest into them. You know, once war becomes important for you, you invest into the Shadowland team. Now, the reason why I wanted to put Sinister Six on here is because Sinister Six, once again, when it comes to valuable teams, they unlock 2 legendaries, right? Invisible Woman and Shuri are 2 characters that you can use to, you can use the Sinister Six team to unlock. The Sinister 8 team, sorry, Sinister 6 team, you can use to unlock a few different characters. Obviously, you're going to tailor your investment a little bit before you get Dr. Octopus, but individually, Electro, Swarm, you know, Mysterio, Rhino, Shocker, and even Vulture, actually really all of these characters can do something for you in the early part of the game for the villains campaign, right? Get you through 1 through 6, get them to level 55, gear tier 9. Some characters you can probably actually leave at level 50 and gear tier 8 to get you through, you know, the campaign. You can put ISOs on some of these characters that will help you, you know, to get through some of those difficult nodes. But for that particular reason, I do find them to be one of the most valuable teams because they do unlock 2 legendaries. Now, later game, they're going to fall off a little bit. Actually, that's not true. Later game, they're still a relevant team because of Dr. Octopus, right? Doc Ock is a legendary. And like I said, I think he's one of the best legendaries in the game. And because of what he does, you know, the healing, the blocks. I mean, he's better on war defense, but you can also use his team offensively to beat teams like Black Order. Mine is not anywhere near built up to beat Black Order. I'm using Doc Ock right now as on a hybrid team to beat Black Order teams and to beat these Emma Surfer combos right now that I'm seeing in Arena. But for that reason, like I said, I had to throw them on this list because they do unlock 2 legendaries. Sinister Six, you know, with Doc Ock is great. I think Swarm and Electro don't get enough love. You know, obviously not on my roster, right? But Sinister and Swarm and Electro, I think, do a lot of work, man, you know, when you use them in war. So I do find them to be very valuable there as far as I'm concerned. But listen, this is going to be end of my list. I didn't make like a crazy analysis because it's such a large list. I can go more in depth on some other teams and how they work and, you know, how you want to use them in other videos. But hopefully this was a good video for you guys. Hope you guys, if you have any questions, of course, leave it in the comments. Let me know. Is there a team that I left off of this list that maybe I should be adding to this list, right? Well, I appreciate you guys for watching. Y'all be blessed and y'all be safe.